Now entering the truth zone, deep into the vortex of the information revolution with your host, Michael B.
I am your host, Michael B., and I am coming to you live from the North Dallas Metroplex here in the great state of Texas. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time I've done a nighttime show in a very long time. My normal hours or 45 minutes, should I say, is 10 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday, to 10:45. Tonight, I'm doing it because I had other personal matters to take care of, and I just wanted y'all to know that if you hear me light belch a little bit, it's because I had Chinese food from dinner, and I'm still drinking my beer. One thing I love about the internet is that you can pontificate all you want, and you can have a beer or you can have a scotch, which I've been known to do from time to time in the past, without anyone breaking your balls. Now, of course, I don't get to make the millions of dollars like, I don't know, let's say Sean Hannity, if you will. Now, isn't that interesting what's happening to Mr. Hannity? Now, the call-in number, if you'd like to call in, is 469-277-2275 over Skype. And Sean Hannity, I like Sean. Back when I was in New York, and my hours of work were like 7 a.m. to 4, I would catch the tail end of his show on WABC New York, and I liked him. I liked what he had to say, and then I started watching Fox News, I want to say early 2000s, and I like the football thing. I like at the end he throws the football. Sean, at least I don't know the man personally, obviously, but on the radio and on TV, Sean is a stand-up guy, and he's been extremely consistent. He hasn't flip-flopped like, I don't know, Bill O'Reilly, who 1 minute he's a conservative, next minute he sounds like a liberal, next minute he sounds like a globalist, asking the federal government to take over law enforcement, which he's done, and that was the last time I ever watched Bill O'Reilly. And that happened last July, so it's been almost a year during the Dallas shooting. So, Sean is being attacked right now because, excuse me, we have allergies down here. And by the way, I want to discuss. I know I'm kind of flipping here. I'll get back to Hannity in a minute. Please go to Infowars.com /show. It should be running on a 24-hour loop. If not, then go look for Alex Jones's radio show for today. I know that's 24/7, and listen to it. He really, I love how people call this guy dumb and a moron and an idiot, yet they don't listen to him or watch him every day like I have for the past, I want to say, consistently about 4 years, give or take. He broke down how cancer works on our bodies so incredible because he was very professional, yet he also spoke simply so we all could understand it. Didn't use big, fancy, elitist words to come off like this big, huge intellectual or a show-off. He spoke in a way that we all could understand it, yet it wasn't like he was speaking to a 6-year-old. It was really fantastic. And he also broke down what fungus does to all of us, and that more often than not, cancers, when people have an autopsy, it's found to be that we had a fungus first that developed into the cancer, and I found that extremely interesting. And he talked about how here in Texas, allergies are getting worse, and how certain entities, perhaps within the government, are creating hybrid funguses using animal bacteria and plant algae and creating super fungi which are indestructible. So he really broke that down. I've never heard disease explained so clearly and easily understood. I mean, I know I'm worshiping Alex Jones, but seriously, folks, this guy could do anything. This guy can decide to make his show about science, about medicine. He can make it about hunting. The guy is just so dynamic. This is what he does 24/7. So when I put up an article on Facebook or Twitter, I just find it funny. Oh, that Alex Jones is a moron. And I don't even respond anymore. I used to get angry, and I would respond back, you idiot, you moron, etc., etc., etc. But that really doesn't get through to people. Now I just let it go, and I'm learning how to let it go, and I'm learning not how to take things so personally, which is very difficult. So back to Hannity. So they got rid of Bill O'Reilly, and if they get rid of Sean Hannity, probably Tucker Carlson will be next. And, I don't really pay attention anymore to the mainstream media. I catch dribs and drabs. And I guess they're trying to frame him for some ridiculous sexual assault charge. And that's been very effective since the Clinton era. And you compliment a woman coworker, you could find yourself out of a job. Even if it's the smallest of compliments, no sexual innuendo, nothing of that nature, you could be gone. So now, because they got rid of the late Roger Ailes, they got rid of Bill O'Reilly, they're seeing that this formula is successful. So hey, if there's anybody else that they want to get rid of, just say they sexually. Some chick just has to say, yeah, he sexually assaulted me, he sexually harassed me. How do you prove it? How do you disprove it? You can't. So the guy gets fired. It's like when a couple's getting divorced, the guy really hasn't done anything, but the wife is spurned. She gets an order of protection on trumped up BS. Next thing you know, if the guy looks at it the wrong way, he's in prison. Guy did nothing. Guy never had a history. No, I am not speaking from experience. Yes, I've been divorced. Yes, I've had order of protections put on me. But no, I've never gone to jail because I'm not stupid. The minute I would receive something like that, the person, I don't know that the person even exists. So that was the end of it, and we finished it, and it's gone. So, but it's the same thing with, he sexually harassed me. How do you prove it? How do you disprove it? And in this world of this ridiculous word culture, I don't know what is politically correct crap. I guess what that means is if you want to have a successful career in politics or in anything, I guess you have to speak the correct language. I just say it's word culture. And right now, presently, we're losing the word culture. But if Donald Trump can stop himself from getting impeached on false charges, well, I think we could reverse that. Now, the USAA is a military-friendly insurance company. You got your home insurance, you got your life insurance, you got your auto insurance, right? And if you were in the military, you can buy a plan and then you can pass it on to your family, but they don't have to join the military. So it sounds really nice. It sounds like a good deal. Sure, why not? Well, they're pulling their sponsorship for the Sean Hannity show on Fox. And you know what's going to happen here. If other sponsors continue to pull off the show, Sean Hannity will no longer be a profit-making machine for Fox. So it would just be a matter of time. And forget the ratings. Ratings don't mean anything. You, the people, don't mean anything. He could still be number one. But if he has no sponsors to generate income for Fox, he's out. Most likely, he could be out for WABC radio too. Now, I say this, and I know this to be true. By and large, the military has conservative leanings, and they also support President Donald J. Trump. And I believe that is a reasonable conclusion. So, as many hosts have said, I believe Mark Levin has said it. Naturally, I know Alex Jones has said it. And if you hear that in the background, that is my over-needy cat needing attention. And I have my office door closed. So if you hear meowing, it's just Zorro because this cat is weird. He constantly needs 24 attention. And if he doesn't get it, he howls like he's being stabbed. But I promise you, he's not being stabbed. So this is where I say, vote with your dollars. And I am urging every military person, every USAA customer, within the sound of my voice, and I may even put this on Facebook because I get way more exposure there, belonging to all the different groups. I would ask you that for all of you that disagree with this attack on Donald Trump, and especially Sean Hannity, who in this particular case has the bullseye on his chest, please end your membership with the USAA. End it. If they're going to cut off their sponsorship on Sean Hannity just because he's a conservative, just because he's consistent, just because he loves this country, then I say to you, end your sponsorship. See, we have the bigger voice. I don't feel that we're utilizing it correctly. And we've done it. We've done good progress. We hammered Target with the same-sex bathroom issue, which was ridiculous in and of itself. And we've also done a good job with Starbucks, who say they're liberal, they're pro-women and they're pro-homosexual, yet they do business with Starbucks, and actually in Saudi Arabia they do business where women have to stand on separate lines and homosexuals routinely get thrown off of rooftops. So I find some hypocrisy there. Now, my favorite coffee shop has been Dunkin' Donuts for years, but from time to time, if I was near a Starbucks, I would go in and I would get a Frappuccino. They've got great Java Mocha, Frappuccinos, no question. Or my wife would go to a Starbucks and she'd bring me back something. Well, since all of that business was going on with Starbucks, not only have I not bought a Starbucks, but also I asked my wife that if you're still going to go, and she has drastically reduced her patronage, I said to her, don't bring me back anything. Just don't spend any money on me with Starbucks. And I think we've been effective there. So we need to We need to show our power in a unified front, and we'll end our sponsorships. And you want to see companies either tank or realize the error of their ways. USAA can deeply regret their decision to play politics with their money instead of standing up for what's right. So that's how I feel about Sean Hannity. And a lot of people on Facebook are upset that Hannity could be on his way out and they're mad at Fox. And I wrote in the thread, well, honestly, I think this is a good thing for Sean Hannity. I feel, honestly, the best thing that could happen to him is to be fired from Fox, because it'll make him create his own network on the internet, like Alex Jones has, like Mark Levin TV on the internet has, like Lionel, who is an attorney, or was. He could be retired, I'm not sure. I first heard him on WABC many years ago as well. Sounds like Joe Pesci, but he's very smart. And he's on InfoWars from time to time. He has his own network. So does Gavin McInnes. So, these people, and they're doing very well. And they're funded independently. They have subscriptions. You, the people, would pay a subscription price. Alex Jones is free, but he sells like several hundred products we all can use, so he gets a lot of funding that way. Personally, I use the Vitamin Mineral Fusion Blend, which I've even run it by a couple of liberals that know about diets and nutrients, and they say it's fantastic. I also use Super Male Vitality, and folks, I'm 52 years old. Well, let me tell you, more often than not, I feel like I'm 32. And his newest product, which I'm very, very excited about, is called Z Shield. And what that is, that's a daily cleanse of the toxic metals and other carcinogens that is everywhere. It's in our food. It's in our air. It's in our detergents. You name it, it's in there. And our body, in one way, shape, or form, absorbs all of these carcinogens. And it goes back to what I talked about practically at the beginning of the show about the fungi link to cancer. So I think it would be wonderful for Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity would make a lot of money. He would be tremendous. And I even gave that recommendation to Greta Van Susteren when she left Fox. I said, do your own thing, Greta. And she did respond to my tweet. Do your own thing. We should all be doing our own thing. And I'm going to try to call Alex Jones this Sunday and see if I can pump my show again, because when he let me do that, I had over 400 listens in 24 hours. And, hey, I get it. There's a lot of people, and it's slowly dwindled the last couple of weeks. I do have 9 followers. I thank you. I hope you're listening. And if you would please pass on my show, if you find value, tell your friends about it, tell your family about it, if you find value. And, what's great about my venue, and it's interesting, that I'm on at 10 a.m., all right? I am an hour before Alex Jones. It's interesting, though, that an hour later, he'll run his show. He doesn't know me personally, obviously, and I'm doing my show before the fact, but he'll say a lot of things that I've already said. The latest one was I did a show on the Manchester Massacre Monday. Or was it Tuesday? Oh, it doesn't matter. And I said how we, the people, are responsible. We're letting this happen. This is on us. He basically said the same thing. And I'm sitting there with my jaw dropping. So, if you do like Infowars.com, if you do like Alex Jones, it's very difficult to get a hold of him. when I did speak to him, I was on waiting till the end of the show. I was dialing and redialing for 3 hours. So, if you guys want to vent, if you want to blow off some steam, if you want to add something, definitely please call in 469-277-2275, or if it's easier, feel free to go to Facebook, go to my group page, The Truth Zone. It's open to the public. There's no censorship, and feel free to contribute an article or two. Feel free to email me at thetruthzone27@gmail.com with an idea. What would you like me to talk about? I'll give it a shot, and I'll give you your props. I'll mention your name. I'll talk about it. So, right now, I'm not worried about the numbers game, and I'm not going to be discouraged. In the past, I would be. I was on Blog Talk Radio, and my show was called The Hot Seat, Left is Never Right, and it was hot. I mean, it was really hot. I was getting 5,000 hits a month consistently. And considering Blog Talk Radio, like Spreaker, a million shows theoretically could be running at the same time. So, under that level of competition, to get 5,000 hits is a pretty big deal. Now, then over time, I felt that the hot seat, Left is Never Right, as edgy as it was kind of restrictive, because I just didn't want to come off as I am a total rock-solid right-wing conservative, which, yes, I'm more of a conservatarian. I believe in individual liberties. I believe in the Constitution, but I am not liberal when it comes to social issues. I am a Christian, therefore I'm fundamental. I believe what the Bible says, and I believe how it said it, how it's written. Does that mean I'm perfect? Does that mean I fulfill every single word? Naturally, I'm human, so no, I do not. But I try to get as close as I can. I am not one of these new Christians where I'm basically inventing who I think God and Jesus Christ are. And I think that's the mistake. You see, that's the trap that we've been led into, and I'll be talking about that down the road. I have talked about the New World Order. I have talked about New Age. And basically, we humans think we have the answers. As it says in the Bible, don't rely on your own leanings, but rely on the Word of God. But we have created God in our image, not the way it used to be. That God created us in His image. And His image, well, only the Bible can tell us who and what God is and what He stands for. But we've rewritten that. So we have Christians today who say, yeah, well, the Bible sort of means this. The Bible, I think this is what it says, really. And, well, no. And a Christian Democrat. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine a Christian that's pro-choice? It's an oxymoron. It's an impossibility. You can't have it. You cannot be a Christian and be a liberal and be thinking abortion is okay and all that other good stuff. Sorry, no. So I am a fundamental Christian, so that puts me on the right side of the median hash mark, but I am not ultra all the way in every single view. Politically, I am to the right of the hash of the median, but being far, far, far right doesn't always mean you're constitutional. And I will be doing a show comparing the neocon to the true conservatarians of the founding fathers. I will be doing that. I did that years ago. I enjoyed it. I had good reviews. I'm going to do it again. So, I am a conservatarian, and that's as far as that goes. So I just want to make that clear. So I changed my radio show to the Truth Zone. Higher Truth. And I seem to have lost traction on Blog Talk. It seemed that, well, it did. My following dropped, 95%. I went from 5,000 to I don't know, 400 or 500 hits a month. Very discouraging. So I had quit, and also I wanted to get to know my new family when I came down to Texas, and then I did it again for a little bit. And then when Trump was running for president, I really, really, really spent a lot of time. I basically campaigned for him on Facebook and Twitter, and I saw that I was getting way more attention and hits and responses from Facebook and Twitter. So I really, really worked hard. 7-8 months. And I was lucky that, I have the job that I have working at home, that I was able to do those things without somebody up my ass. But now that that's all over, and I enjoy doing this, and what drew me back in was that one day Alex Jones was talking about Mark Dice, and you could see Mark Dice on YouTube, and he wrote a really cool book, and I know it's cool because I've studied New World Order stuff, and I want to get his book, but I got 4 or 5 books here waiting for me to read. But he wrote a book, I believe it's called The New World Order in Hollywood, something of that nature. And I am going to read it at some point, where he exposes the globalist New Age infiltration into Hollywood. And Joseph McCarthy was right, Senator McCarthy. He was really raked over the coals for decades. But it turns out the guy was on the mark. Was he perfect? Nope. But a lot of people, he called out the general premise that communism broke into Hollywood and it was influencing the media. The guy was right. And if you look at Hollywood today, it's real easy to see that the man was on the money. So what Alex Jones was saying about Mark Dice is that Mark was reluctant to get started on social media, doing his videos and whatnot, because he doubted if he was going to be successful or not. And Alex Jones told him, Mark, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about who's watching or listening. You're a smart guy. You're a passionate guy. Just do it. And that really inspired me to get back in the game. And that was months ago. And I knew I didn't want to go back to the hot seat, left is never right. Higher Truth Radio, it left a bad taste in my mouth after the rating fall off. I wanted to revamp, and I couldn't think of a show name. And then out of nowhere, I just left it alone, and I don't know how much time went by, for a few weeks, whatever. Excuse me, that's the beer and Chinese food coming up. I apologize. It just hit me. The Truth Zone. So, I went to GoDaddy.com. I bought the domain name. It was like $400. I don't remember, whatever. And then, like a lot of people podcasting, if you want to have an intro music, you usually take a rock band or a country, something you like, and you take somebody else's work. I wanted to do it this time, different. So I went to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and I had an original theme song created from scratch. I gave the guy my idea what I wanted added, the words of mine deep into the informational, deep into the vortex of the informational revolution. That's all mine. And I wanted it to sound like deep and ghoulish and powerful. The guy did that. The guy's music is all his. Using Star Trek's Red Alert was my idea. So it's all mine. My design is mine. And I thank bbsradio.com, and that's Baker Sam radio.com, who I simulcast to. I upload my show to that, and that is primarily a metaphysical, new age, it is, and psychic driven platform. And I had success on there. I mean, big. When they had just came out with the stats, I had big. But I decided to, and perhaps it was a mistake, I decided to end my show. And I mean, I saw the numbers. I had 10,000 hits. And I think it was like a week. And I walked away from that. That's how important my new family was to me. So, and I don't regret it. It was a decision I made. I don't regret it. I can rebuild again now. For now, I'm just a podcaster on BBS. It was kind of hard to find me, but what I am going to do again, I'm going to start looking at guests, because I had a lot of success with that. When I was doing Higher Truth Radio and Blog Talk, I interviewed guest authors, and it was really cool because they would send me a free book. So that was nice. So I'm going to do that again. And that brought a lot of traction. And it was different because we talked about different stuff. It wasn't just politics. So I'm totally going to be doing that again in the future. What I might do is, since I've expanded to broadcast, the Spreaker offered a serious deal. Couldn't refuse it. That I'm going to start looking into not only doing my Monday through Friday show, but a weekend show where I will interview these guests, and hopefully I could get highlighted there and get more traction, because I know I'm good. I know I'm good. I know I'm smart. I know what I say is dead on. Like I said, several minutes ago. My show is before Alex, and I would say things that Alex and his guests would say after the fact, and it's obvious. They are not copying me. They don't know who I am. But what's happening here is that through my research, through my listening, through my background, I am in the know. I know I'm in tune. It's like, metaphysics. It's like energy. Mind-to-mind connection without consciously knowing that, and we're on the same page. We've even used the same songs in the past, and I wasn't copying him. He didn't know me from Adam. And we would use the same song for, like, if I had a topic, I would use the song to highlight that. It would be in conjunction with. Since I only do 45 minutes, I'm not doing that anymore, but with this weekend show that I'm thinking of launching, which will probably be 2 hours, I'm going to do that again. I enjoyed that. So I know that I can do this full time. I know that I can do this worldwide. I've done it. I've had phone calls from every continent, literally from every continent, when the hot seat was at its hottest. I mean, I had roundtable discussions. My show would go overtime into the 3rd hour. So, if it happened once, it can and it will happen again. I just have to be patient. I just have to keep plugging. And, you people could help me out. You could. If you find value, please. I urge you to pass this on to your family and friends, and like I said, please call in if you like. You want to vent. 469-277-2275. So, that is the end. I'm putting you people out of your misery. And that is the end of my 35-minute rant, which, by the way, I believe I have the unofficial record for the longest uninterrupted teleprompter-free rant in history. I went an hour, yes, I timed it, an hour and 40 minutes straight. No audio clip, no commercial break, no song break, nothing. Just me and my words, no script, I wasn't looking at an article, 1 hour and 40-minute rant. I say it's the unofficial world's record for all podcasters. If anybody knows different, please let me know. So I've got a few articles here, and they're coming from godfatherpolitics.com. This, folks, is a fantastic site. They don't just do politics. They do religion. They do the Constitution. They do economics. I will be using them a lot. I've used them in the past, and I'm just letting you know right now. I will be using this a lot. This basically is a hub for independent writers to come in, share what they're passionate about. You could say it's a collective blog if you want. I'm no expert. And they're not subject to censorship or threats of being fired by sharing what they want to share and how they want to share it. So godfatherpolitics.com is a fantastic source of independent information. I urge all of you to check out godfatherpolitics.com. Now, 2 years ago, when I was doing radio and on Facebook and Twitter, I had said that the next incoming president that is serious about not giving in to the establishment and is serious about doing the best he or she can to bring the country back into the constitutional republic that the founding fathers created, that president would have to declare himself, like Julius Caesar, dictator, executive order everything, surround himself with like a Praetorian guard, literally an armed guard, to protect him, and even if he has to, invoke some sort of a temporary martial law where he brings in the military that is loyal to the core, not to the government, and not necessarily to the president, but loyal to the Constitution of the United States and every legitimate American citizen, and start arresting people. And nope, not civilian courtrooms, because as we've seen with these circuit judges, another Fourth Circuit Court judge has gotten into the act and stopped Trump's travel ban. He's going to have to arrest people and have military tribunals for treason and sedition. And that's no joke. Because what's happening here, and I've got a couple of clips I'm going to play, we are seeing right in front of our eyes Now, I want to use the word mutiny because it's like, captain of a ship and the crew plotting to get rid of the captain either by death or imprisonment and take over the ship. And that's what we're seeing here. And yes, it's called treason. But I want to use the word mutiny because Trump is the captain of this ship called the United States of America. And his crew, senators and congressmen and women, are blatantly plotting to end this man's presidency through a false narrative of impeachment. Now, there's a latest article, and I'll get to that, on Jared Kushner, who I think is a very bad choice. I think Ivanka, when it comes to the political stage, has made a mistake marrying this guy. But she's also a left-winger too. And I think Trump needs to get her to keep her mouth shut. When it comes to what America should do, go back and sell your cosmetics, go back and sell your clothes, but keep your mouth shut. Because you're undermining your father. So, we're seeing a coup with the government. Because what did Julius Caesar want? Julius Caesar forced the senators to allow a creation of another house. And it was the House of Plebs. Or what Great Britain has done is House of Commons. Julius Caesar wanted the everyday citizen to have a voice in what direction Rome went. As of the moment where he became emperor, by taking out the triumvirate, the aristocracy called the shots. The rich, they were the senators, and they paid for their positions. They were very corrupt. They were out of touch with the citizenry. They didn't care. It was all about being senator and getting rich. Well, Julius Caesar wasn't a fan of that. And ultimately, that House of Plebs was created, but it came with a very big price. As you know, they stabbed Caesar to death right on the Senate floor, and the rest is history. Well, the same is happening to Trump. Now, he's not being literally stabbed on the Senate floor, but he's being stabbed in the back metaphorically with the cries of impeachment. And I'm going to get to a very interesting montage of several Democrats crying for impeachment. So this first article is by, I got to pull up the name again, by Gary DeMar, dated May 16th. And it's called, "Is it time for Trump to fire everyone and start over?" Well, the obvious answer is yes. And again, he could start with Kushner and his daughter. Get him out of there. Reince Priebus, get him out of there. So this man's article starts off with, "I don't understand why Trump didn't get rid of every holdover from the Obama administration. I would have fired everyone and started from scratch." Now, I agree. I would have done the same thing. And here's why I would have done the same thing. See, I realize that trying to work with these people is hopeless. And I know what Trump did. Trump used his business negotiating skills, and he felt that he could do that through the White House. But as I stated on my show a couple of weeks ago, Trump is not dealing with business sharks. He's dealing with vampires. Maybe not literally vampires, but these people are pretty nasty, folks. And that's a whole other show. So, he tried to negotiate, he tried to compromise. He tried to give these people positions and hope that, they would see the light. They would work with him. He's willing to work with them. And it has backfired big time. The only time that he got the approval of the globalists and of the establishment was through his foreign policy. And I'm going to get to that article, time permitting, later. So I get why Trump didn't drain the swamp day one. His election shook the establishment to its core for the first time in a very long time. The Democrats and the Republicans are on the same side. And there was blatant proof of that when early on in the primaries, Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton were being pumped because it was a win-win. The globalists was going to get two people that they could deeply compromise, and they were willing to be compromised. They were willing to be the bitch of George Soros and company. They couldn't wait to bend over. They couldn't wait to play swallow the sword. They just couldn't wait. But see, Trump has a problem. The old and bitter John McCain is leading the opposition from within the Grab Obama's Penis Party. We're looking at a well-orchestrated but quiet coup d'etat. And that is not hyperbole, ladies and gentlemen. That is not hyperbole. Trump's presidency is being sabotaged from the inside and is being aided and abetted by the GOP establishment. It is time to clean house to catch the opposition off guard. There's a scene from the film The Untouchables that he could take a lesson from. Al Capone is on trial for tax evasion, the only crime they could pin on him. There was a jury trial. Elliot Ness finds out that the jury is compromised. It must have been bought off by Capone. The judge, most likely also on Capone's payroll, wanted to save his career by not being exposed, even though his name is not on this particular list. So he makes a split-second decision and switches the existing jury with a sitting jury in another courtroom, not having anything to do with the Capone case. It didn't happen exactly the way it was depicted in the film, but there was a jury switch. See, that's what Trump has to do. I mean, he's just going to have to get ugly. And we wanted him to get ugly. We asked him to get ugly. We loved his sharp tongue. We loved his sharp rhetoric. We don't want him playing ball with these idiots. We want them crushed. We've had it. We're done. We've had it with the same old song and dance, my friends. We're done. So Donald Trump, would you please be Donald Trump? And if you happen to invoke a soft martial law or counter coup against Washington, D.C., and put people in shackles, I'm not a betting man, but I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say the majority of Americans, sir, will be in your corner. I certainly will be in your corner, and you have our full support and consent. Because the Founding Fathers said we had the right, if the day should ever be necessary, to change our government, and that means throwing out these usurpers, throwing out these treasoners, or treasonists, if you will, throwing out these seditionists. We have your back, Mr. President. We're just asking you to do it. Just do it. So, speaking of Jared Kushner, and as I've lambasted the man, I'm also going to say the article I'm going to read to you from AOL.com, they've got their news article thingies. I haven't read the full article, but I'm going to still say it's full of crap. Jared Kushner is under FBI scrutiny into alleged Trump-Russia ties, and as part of this investigation, the Washington Post has learned that Kushner reportedly discussed setting up a back channel between the Trump transition team and the Kremlin during his meeting in December with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Now, I just want to stop right there. Right off the bat, I don't give a damn. Listen to what happened here. Kushner discussed setting up a back channel, a secret dialogue, if you will, between the Trump transition team and the Kremlin. See, the transition team. Trump already won the election. So, considering the fact that Donald Trump was president-elect, and it was just, what could it be? December. What could it be? 4, 5, 6 weeks away from being inaugurated. What is wrong with having pre-inaugural dialogue with a major power who is on the same side as you in fighting ISIS and fighting, quite frankly, the establishment? What's wrong with it? I think that's a brilliant move. Why did Donald Trump have to wait until he's sworn in on January 20th to speak to the Kremlin and Vladimir Putin? Why? What is the difference? We the people made our decision. We decided that Trump is our president. I don't care if Jared Kushner and Steve Bannon at the time, or Michael Flynn at the time, if they started setting up an infrastructure with all of our allies. And quite frankly, even with our not so allies, if they created an infrastructure to speak with Iran, to speak with North Korea, to speak with Afghanistan, for Christ's sakes. I mean, so what? We should be talking to these countries. We should be talking to North Korea. North Korea is threatening us by the day. And so far, physically, all of their tests have failed. Why not talk to that little chubby guy and say, dude, listen, you're getting yourself and your people in hot water. Why don't we discuss, instead of threatening each other with blowing each other up, why don't we have a dialogue with, can we get to some middle ground where both of our philosophies can somehow interlock to a point where it would benefit both North Koreans, for real, North Koreans, and for real benefit Americans? Why shouldn't we talk to these people? We should talk to these people. So, I mean, you tell me what's worse. Is it worse for Jared Kushner to work with a Russian ambassador to set up a pre-inaugural dialogue to get the ball rolling, to plan on how we can work in different areas, economically and yes against ISIS, why not start ahead of time? Why do we have to wait 6 or 7 weeks? Now, how is that troubling to the FBI? Yet, it was caught on that infamous hot mic with the president at the time. Not President-elect Obama. Not candidate Obama. But President of the United States Obama on a hot mic during a break in a discussion with that other Russian official dude, and he said, hey, you tell Vlad I've got one more election. And after I win that election, you tell him I could be more flexible. In other words, after I win and I can't run for president anymore, I don't have to care what the American voter thinks. I could care what I think, and I could do what the F I want, and you go tell Vlad I want to do stuff that's screw the Americans, but what's in my best interest and what's in your best interest, Vlad, and screw our own people. And a Russian dude said, I tell Vlad, What? Hello? You want to talk about doing something fishy? You want to talk about doing something underhanded? How about the President of the United States saying, after I win this election, I could do whatever the F I want, and I don't give an F who doesn't like it. Now, you tell me. You tell me what's messed up. No, that's what's messed up. So, we've got this BS alleged FBI scrutiny crap. According to intelligence officials, during a meeting at Trump Tower that included Michael Flynn, Kushner suggested using Russian diplomatic facilities for a secret and secure channel with the Kremlin that would shield discussions between the two sides from U.S. monitoring. You damn right. You damn right to hide it from U.S. monitoring. What has U.S. monitoring gotten us? You know what it's gotten us? Scumbags leaking to the press about what we're going to do. We've seen it through the years. We've seen it. Military strategies. Going to the newspapers. Hey, check out what's going to happen. We heard President Bush going public with, we're going to give the Saddam Hussein's sons and Hussein himself 24 hours or 48, whatever it was, to get the hell out of Iraq before we start shock and awe. Not really a good move. And if Iraq did have weapons of mass destruction, which we never found, we gave, when I say we, Bush, the U.S. government, gave Saddam Hussein 48 hours to either destroy or to move those alleged weapons of mass destruction. So you tell me how smart it is to have your dialogues over super sensitive material, having it monitored by different intelligence agencies, and then some scumbag to make a name for himself, maybe to make some pocket change. You tell me how it's cool to leak that crap to the public and the whole world knows from what direction you're coming from. Tell me how that works. How does that work for America? How does that help our military? Answer: it doesn't. The White House disclosed in March that this meeting had taken place, but only after media reports surfaced, and has so far played down its significance. Well, who cares about media reports surfacing? Who cares about the freaking media? However, after the U.S. intercepted Russian intel discussing the meeting, eyebrows were raised. Well, yeah. Eyebrows were raised. And let me tell you something, folks. It has nothing to do with what was discussed. and with what foreign entity was discussed. No, eyebrows are raised and people are making much ado about nothing is because Trump is president. If Hillary had won and she did this backdoor crap, and we know a lot about Hillary and her backdoor. No, I don't mean her anus, her backdoor servers and whatnot. Nobody would have said jack. Okay? I mean, let's just be real. Nobody would have said jack crap if it was discovered that Hillary Clinton, President-elect Hillary Clinton, 7 weeks before she was to be sworn in, is setting up a private infrastructure to discuss highly classified and sensitive material before she's sworn in. Nobody would have said anything. Matter of fact, I bet you the liberal media would have said, oh man, is Hillary smart. Boy, is she smart to get ahead of the 8 ball. Boy, is she smart to get ahead of the game. Boy, is she proactive. Look at her. She's setting up talks with the Russians even before she gets sworn in. Boy, is this woman dedicated to the progress of the United States of America. And boy, is she is just great for the world. How much you want to bet? Nah. Eyebrows are being raised, folks, because Donald J. Trump is our anti-establishment president. And I'm telling you. And I want to be wrong, but I don't think I am. They will find or make up anything they can that they think will be strong enough to charge Donald J. Trump, President Trump, the 45th President of the United States of America, with treason. And they will bring it as far as an actual trial. They will do it. Now, I think there are only two ways that Donald Trump can stop this. Now, the first way is the pussy way. He could totally surrender and just do as the establishment says, which I kind of think he did when he bombed that airfield in Syria, when he allowed Nikki Haley to right away condemn Bashir Assad for that alleged, well, the chemical attack wasn't alleged, but it was alleged he did it without any investigation. They just went straight for his throat. And then I kind of think that the first round of the health care bill was very globalist, very Obamacare-light, and so he could capitulate, he could surrender, and he could be their stooge. Or, like I said earlier, he's going to have to go for their throats. He's going to have to start arresting people, which will send a and Comey might as well be number one, which will send a message that he is not afraid. That Donald Trump is not afraid to take on the New World Order, take the gloves off, bare knuckle fight in the octagon, no referee, until somebody, and this is metaphorically, until somebody isn't breathing. To me, those are only two ways that Donald Trump is going to get out of it. Now, naturally, just hit me. A third way is that Attorney General Sessions and whatever special prosecutor, they have to appoint several, I think, to cover several people. They've got to get ahead, and they have got to start indicting people. They've got to. So, when Trump gets back from his Middle East tour, which I was not a fan of his performance in Saudi Arabia, and calling Islam one of the world's most beautiful religions. Yeah, you go back to my 5-part series, folks. Bottom line, Allah is Satan. That's all I'm going to say for tonight. He's really got to get aggressive. He's really, really got to put, excuse me, the pedal to the metal now. This is no joke. He cannot play. He cannot compromise. He cannot work with these people. He has shown weakness. These people are animals. The more that you try to compromise, the more that you try to be nice, the more they're going to reach for your neck. President Trump, you right now are basically alone. If I were you, I would hire my own, out of your own money. You're a gazillionaire. You don't care. I would hire like 10 guys and women that are willing to do it, that are the best military secret ops, James Bond dude, whatever. And they would be surrounding me and my family. And I would just start going to town. Just start going to town on these people. And I would give the warning. I would give the warning on worldwide TV. Every single United States official that has had impeachment on their lips and has threatened the president, like Chuck Schumer did, saying, you know, Donald, and I'm paraphrasing, Donald Trump pissed off the CIA and whatnot. They have a way of getting revenge on you. I'd watch out, Donald Trump. You weren't that smart. Just to say that? You've got a senator saying to the president, watch your back. These people can do something to you. I mean, dude, if you come on. I cannot believe that's okay. That a United States senator can say something like that about the president of the United States. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know every statute, but I can't believe there's not something that Chucky could be removed from his seat. I just can't believe that you can speak that way. There's got to be something. So, people familiar with the matter say the FBI now considers the encounter, as well as another meeting Kushner had with a Russian banker, to be of investigative interest. Sure. Kislyak reportedly was taken aback by the suggestion of allowing an American to use Russian communications gear at its embassy or consulate, a proposal that would have carried security risks from Moscow as well as the Trump team. Article goes on to say, according to officials, now this thing is breaking my chops here. According to officials who spoke to the Post, while Russia frequently sends out misinformation, it's not clear. They frequently send out misinformation. Yeah, okay. It's not clear what leaking this information would accomplish, particularly at a time when the Kremlin still saw the prospect of dramatically improved relations with Trump, lending to its credibility. Yeah, well, I think this whole thing is a bunch of crap. And the original accusation was that the Russians supplied WikiLeaks with different those Podesta and Clinton emails, and that's what swayed the election. Yeah, well, here's a problem with that, folks. Here's a big problem. You see, those WikiLeaks emails, well, they're not exactly new news. Now, they may be current as far as what took place during this election cycle. But if you think that those weird satanic rituals that were brushly discussed, and the pedophilia innuendo, and all the other corruption and filth that those emails talked about, folks, if you think that that's when this started, you're sadly mistaken. David Icke, Roger Stone, Alex Jones, and so many, Dr. Stanley Manteith, who died last year, all, and so many others, Joel Gilbert, so many others, have written books and have done movies on these disgusting, putrid Satanists. It's nothing new, folks. It's nothing new. And like I said during this week, I don't see any lawsuits filed for defamation of character, do you? Yeah, you know why? For those of you first time listening, they don't want this stuff going to court because now you get to depose people. Oh, yeah. Now you get to enter documents. Now you get to enter people's testimony. Good luck with that. Then, you people that are in denial about the Clintons and these other freaks, guess what, folks? Guess what happens to your cognitive dissonance? Guess what happens to your infrastructure? See, Morpheus gave Neo a choice. The red pill or the blue pill. And it was up to Neo to take by the hand which one. Well, in this case, when these people come crumbling down, and you people that think that these are good people, Morpheus is going to take that red pill, hold your nose, pry your mouth open, and ram it down your throat. And you're going to love it. Okay? That's why there's been no defamation of character. But you notice how nobody said Stone is lying. Joel Gilbert is lying. Alex Jones is lying. David Icke is lying. Oh, yeah. They'll call them names to discredit them. Idiot, wacko, moron, tinfoil hat wearer. But you notice, they'll never call them a liar because that's defamation of character. That opens up a lawsuit on them. Never mind them being the plaintiff. They'll have to be the defendant. And the same thing goes. Depositions and documents. Bye-bye. They don't want it, folks. Believe me. They don't want it. Which is why I could say on my show, who's a pedophile, who's a rapist, who's a murderer, who's a Satanist. Now, I won't be sued. Number one, I ain't got nothing. I mean, these people want millions. Well, you ain't getting millions out of me. I could wind up dead first. I could wind up in prison on NDAA charges. But, you know, nobody knows me. I'm nobody. So, like, you know, no one's going to pay attention. But if I had an audience of, let's say, 500,000, yeah, something could happen to me. And a lawsuit would be last on the list. So, another article coming from Godfather Politics. Impeachment pie, anybody? Auntie Maxine, as in that whack job, Maxine Waters, just got some bad news. And this comes from Kelly Sharp, May 15th of this year. Maxine Waters is high on the list of despicable politicians. The poverty pimp. Oh, I like that. Barack Obama was the race pimp. Maxine Waters is the poverty pimp. I like that. Boy, that is fantastic. Kelly Sharp. The poverty pimp just got a dose of her own medicine after she spotted and impeached Maxine Waters right outside of a very town hall in Inglewood, California. People are fed up with the ridiculous shenanigans of the left, well, the seditionist shenanigans, if you will. And they're finally speaking out about it. The first step was when we voted to elect Donald Trump as president. The next step is draining that swamp. And they show a picture of the posted sign, impeach Maxine Waters. She got her mouth hanging open like, "Bleh," like dumb Donald on Fat Albert. And it's funny. She goes, important issues facing us in 2017. Plan A, impeach Trump. Blame Whitey for everything. Added funding for Planned Parenthood. Increase illegal aliens for more votes. Plan B. Blame Whitey. Blame Whitey for everything. Didn't do nothing. Blame Whitey for everything. Oh, that's fantastic. That's really fantastic. So the impeach Maxine Waters signs are priceless. So that's really cool. Yeah. She is despicable. She is disgusting. So is that Al Green. So is Schmuck Schumer. They're all disgusting. So now I think, after hearing an hour and 15 minutes of my beautiful voice, and I know you love it so, I'm going to play this hysterical montage of liberals calling for impeachment of Trump. And again, this is a coup d'etat. This is a mutiny. This is an overthrow. And ladies and gentlemen, we may not like, well, most of us don't like every single thing Donald Trump does. And I've been critical of his foreign policy, but I like what he's attempting to do for the American people. I still believe he wants that wall built. I still believe he wants us to have something better than Obamacare. But he's got to realize federal government has to be removed. It has to be in the same status it was in 2008, pre-Obama. He has to reconcile that within himself. I truly believe he wants to bring jobs to America. I truly believe he wants to stop the persecution of Christians in the United States of America. So I am still on Donald Trump's side. I just don't have to like everything. But now's the time, folks. And I'm going to start doing this. You know what I'm going to do? Every day, starting tomorrow, I'm going to tweet. He is not going to see it. You know, what are the odds? But I'm going to tweet a few words of encouragement to President Donald Trump every single day. Even if it's like, Prez, I've got your back. President Trump, I've got your support. President Trump, stay strong. I'm with you. Could you imagine, folks, if all of us that support Donald Trump would do that? Could you imagine if millions of people, a 5-word tweet to Donald Trump, some have to penetrate. I mean, you got to figure, if 5 million people every single day tweeted a few words of encouragement to Donald Trump, I have to believe that some will get through, and he may even get to see some. He needs to know right now that we have Donald Trump's back. The American people not only have not given up on him, which would be stupid after just four months and a week. I mean, that'd be really stupid to give up on this guy already. But let him know that we're with him, We support him. We love him. And we have your back, Mr. President. I think we should all do that. I think that's really important. So let me play this hysterical montage of liberals calling for impeachment of Trump.
Just from last night. This is just from last night. These are clips from the nightly news, the NBC news, the cable news. This is just from last night. Listen to this and tell me that there is not a coup attempt of the presidency of the United States going on the eve of our president leaving the country. Listen to this, my impeachment montage. This is all from last night.
Welcome back. You're watching MSNBC. I'm Stephanie Rule. The calls are growing for the ouster of President Trump. Another member of Congress wants him impeached.
Is that potentially impeachable if it's an obstruction of justice?
I think we're going to have to look into it a little bit further.
You were saying that this could lead down the road to impeachment, but we weren't anywhere near that yet. Does this breaking news tonight change your view on that?
Are we getting closer and closer to the possibility of yet another impeachment process?
Reluctantly, Wolf, I have to say yes.
Is it an impeachable offense if, in fact, the president obstructs justice?
So in terms of impeachment, are you taking action, working with Republicans, or doing anything that would actually move that agenda forward? Do you harbor any hope that you will find a conservative legal mind to match your desire to proceed with impeachment?
I think he can be looked at and perhaps even charged with obstruction of justice. I think that...
You mean impeachment proceedings?
I beg your pardon?
You mean impeachment proceedings? Impeachment originates in the House. House leadership and the Republican Party has shown no interest in that and seems like it's the furthest thing from their mind. You think that's going to change?
Are you suggesting that President Trump should face impeachment?
No, I'm not suggesting that. Congressman, what is your case for impeachment?
Well, but now we're talking impeachment. Do you think this is a bridge too far?
What do you think of this impeachment possibility? What's more needed to prove obstruction of justice if the president fires the guy coming after him after asking to drop the case? What more do you need? Impeachment is the remedy. I mean, the president can't...
The only remedy.
Yeah, there's growing talk, at least, about impeachment within your party. You have Congresswoman Maxine Waters, you have Congressman Al Green, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, all talking about impeachment for this president.
You heard Jeffrey Toobin say it would be an obstruction of justice, and potentially, as you know, Senator, that could be impeachable. That could be an impeachable offense.
That's insane, isn't it? That's all last night. Every one of those clips is from last night. See, that's what I was telling you earlier is, because these millennials don't understand, the impeachment is not a removal from office. The way impeachment works is there's a vote on to impeach the president in the House of Representatives. That's an indictment. Then it goes to the House and they have a trial. And we did this with Bill Clinton in 1998. It's pretty exciting stuff, I must tell you. But this, then I was happy about it because I hated Clinton. This is different. This is different. I'm starting to hear the only remedy is impeachment. The only remedy is impeachment. They're going to start, I'm telling you this, what they're going to start doing. They're going to start doing this. Let's impeach him so that we can have a trial and all the facts can be presented. That's what they're going to start doing. I'm waiting for the first Republican, mainstream Republican, to come out. And it's going to be one of the usual suspects, a McCain, that says it's time to impeach him so we can get the facts out. Now, Dana Bash slipped up last night on CNN. I'm sorry, I'm going through these audio sound bites a little fast because I'm running out of show time, and I was up early in the morning getting these things together, and I'm going to play them. Dana Bash, I think, slipped up last night. Listen to this. Dana Bash is talking about what's going on here with President Trump. This is the middle of a conversation. They're talking about the phony fake news story of leaking classified intel to the Russians, and then also they're talking about this Comey memo. And then Dana Bash, I guess she was on TV so long yesterday, she ran out of things to say, and she started talking about what's really going on here. Listen, Dana Bash, CNN.
And so we know that this is, they talk about the deep state. Well, these are communities that have a lot of loyalty within and know how to get back, even if you're the president of the United States. And the fact is that when the intelligence community found out about the conversation that the president had with the Russians, talking about classified information, we don't know all the details. We are told that it wasn't as bad as it might have seemed initially. That's what the White House sources are saying. But still, the intelligence community leaked that out. Now we know that the FBI director was keeping notes on many things, but the fact that this is the first one that he made clear and made public, and is so incredibly explosive, as Jeff said, is the clearest, most dangerous sign yet of potential obstruction of justice, makes you think, what else is going to happen? And it will be very hard for Republicans who have, in the past 24 hours, been more aggressively critical against the president.
Okay, now what Dana Bash said there in the beginning, she started deep state. So what Dana Bash is saying is, see, this is what happens. She's on TV all day. She ran out of new things to say, and then she slipped and started talking the truth. She said this president has taken on the intelligence community, so they leaked this. The deep state. See, this is about who really controls the processes there. You know, this is such an interesting thing because the left, I mean, look what's going on here with Comey, with this so-called memo. Former FBI director. My entire life, all I've heard is what a creep J. Edgar Hoover was. That he had files and information that he used against presidents. And he stayed in power administration after administration because presidents feared what information the FBI director J. Edgar Hoover had on them. Now we've got this new FBI director, Comey. He gets fired unexpectedly. He didn't think he was going to get fired. Trump did the unthinkable. And all of a sudden, there's something from the files. You know, they made that movie about J. Edgar Hoover with Leonardo DiCaprio.
I just want to stop right there for a second. You know, this notion that the firing of Comey was a surprise is ridiculous. I'm sorry, but it is. So many Democrats, including Schmuck Schumer, said that Comey was unfit to be FBI director and that it would be foolish of Trump to keep him on. And all of these Democrats at first were calling for Comey's head when Hillary Clinton came out and said, it was Comey's fault I wasn't elected president. It wasn't my fault. It's not that I was a scumbag. It's not that my husband was, he settled rape cases out of court. Had nothing to do with that. Nope. Had nothing to do with Haiti. Had nothing to do with the Clinton Foundation being a fraud, which I haven't verified this, but I heard that the foundation has been closed or it's like dead broke on its last legs. Yeah, sure. Because you know why? Bill's out of politics. He can't run. Hillary's not going to run anymore. She lost the presidency. There's no reason for foreign governments to hand her cash to hold as a war chest to run for president and be another globalist puppet because she's history. She's done. She's finished. That family is finished. And that buck-toothed ugly beaver Chelsea ain't got no chance at nothing. Okay? The biggest shot she has is being just some douchebag Congress broad from New York, yeah? Well, due to their population, they've got 40 of them anyway, and nobody gives a shit, okay? Period. End of story. Sorry, I said it. Forgive me. I didn't want to curse on my show. It just came out, but nobody cares about... Clinton's not even her father. And the name escapes me now of who her daddy is, but no one cares. Okay? Nobody cares. So, the Clintons are done, the foundation is done, and everybody was calling, all the Democrats were calling for Comey's head. Now, all of a sudden, the Trump actually goes through with it, which, again, as in the first article I had, drain the swamp now, get rid of everybody. That douche would have been fired from day one. As soon as I'm sworn in, Michael B., you are now the president. Thanks, Judge. Press conference, 30 minutes. Boom. I'm up there, worldwide TV. Comey, you're fired. This person, you're fired. That person, you're fired. And just to let everybody know, any one of you that promotes or fabricates false charges against me, you're gonna be in prison. I would have done that from day freaking one. And I would have said, because he had to have seen this coming, I would have said, whoever calls for a special prosecutor and for the end game of having me impeached, I'm going to remember each and every one of you. And when all those investigations are done, and when I'm exonerated from any wrongdoing, and when there's no chance of even using fake, phony evidence to impeach me, I'm going to come after each and every one of you that started this crap to undermine my presidency and to hurt the American people of the United States of America. You have been warned. James Comey, you're fired. Boom! Within the first hour, baby. Forget the little tea and lunch with the outgoing idiots. Forget the photo ops. Forget the whole crap. My jacket would have come off. My sleeves would have been rolled up. I would have gone on TV. And I would have done it public, baby. You better believe it. I'm telling you, folks, you know what? You people, the people that are for the Constitution and are for justice, you'd love me being your president. You libtards and you American-hating Americans, you would hate my guts. Because for 4 years, I would unleash such a reign of terror against the real enemies of the United States of America. And you know who you are. And I promise you, you'd be finished. You'd either be in jail or you'd be ruined. And if I took down your family, and if I ruined your children's future aspirations of political or whatever, if I ended your name for 100 years, I'd celebrate with Don Perignon, baby. So let's continue with this montage.
And there's a scene at the end where they showed the files, all of J. Edgar Hoover's files burning down. And I always thought that J. Edgar Hoover's files of dirt on people was an urban legend. I really didn't believe it. I didn't. But now I do. Because J. Edgar Comey is what we have here now. Oh, you're going to fire me? Oh, I just conveniently have this email that jams you up in a felony impeachable obstruction of justice charge. And with all this talk of the past...
Yeah, I want to stop right there. And that's going to lead me, excuse me, to my second clip showing a timeline with James Comey, his testimony, and this alleged memo, which I'm not quite sure, but I don't think has surfaced yet. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see this alleged memo. I'm waiting to hear that it's been entered into some sort of, evidence in a trial, but in these so-called, I guess we'll have to wait for Comey's newest and latest testimony, supposedly coming after Memorial Day sometime, I don't know, within the early part of June. That's the last I've heard. So, yeah. I personally, I can't wait to see this memo. Can't wait to see when it was dated. And I can't wait to see then former Director Comey. I just would like you to explain your May 3rd testimony then. But we continue.
Watergate, Watergate, Watergate. Have you ever heard in all this talk in the last couple of days about J. Edgar Hoover? When did J. Edgar Hoover leave the FBI? It was in the 70s. What year did he leave the FBI? Can't remember. It was it 72? I gotta look. But J. Edgar Comey, this is what the left have been telling us, what a creep the FBI director J. Edgar Hoover was, because he had information that he used against politicians who dared not fire him, no matter what he did, because he would release that information. And now we have J. Edgar Comey doing that against President Trump with a memo from his files. And I even heard some discussion, I think this was, I was flipping around, so I may be wrong about this, but Blitzer was talking about where the memo is, and he said, "Now I'm not." And he said, "I don't know if Director Comey was allowed to return to his office because he was in California when he was fired. So where's this memo and all this stuff?" Yesterday, somebody in the chat room. Okay, you guys are a step ahead of me. Yesterday, I saw a story. I'm pretty sure this was CNN, but it may have been one of the others. And they were talking about how Comey keeps records of everything. Every meeting, every discussion, he takes memos. He's got very detailed records of everything. Sounded like J. Edgar Hoover to me. Isn't that what J. Edgar Hoover did? Yeah, it's the same thing. So all these throwbacks to history, Tubin over there, Watergate, they love to say that. Nixon. They hate J. Edgar Hoover as much as they hated Nixon. And I have not heard them do this once. And I'll tell you, I talk about 50-50 impeachment right now at this point. Listen, this is 72. Yes, that's when Hoover left. Listen to this. I was talking about this with Watergate. When they first started talking about Watergate the other day, Woodward and Bernstein did not break Watergate. Deep Throat, we now learned after his death, was a guy by the name of Felt. Felt was Deep Throat.
Well, I think enough of that. I think we get the gist of it. So allegedly, Mr. Comey likes to keep records and dirt on everyone. Well, see, now we're going to go into the second clip. And here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. When James Comey eventually has to testify, he better be asked to produce this memo in original form, whatever that may be, with the freaking date. And if that date of that memo is before May 3rd, if Attorney General Sessions doesn't indict that man for perjury, folks, we're going to know. For real, done, over, period, done. This is it. The whole schmear. The fix is in. And we have no shot of getting our country off the puppet strings of the globalists like George Soros, the Warburgs, the Rockefellers. Now, we've got Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation. They're the new breed. The Zuckerbergs coming up, and the Merkels, and the whole. We'll know for sure, because Comey, I think, at this point, is the most vulnerable. He's got to go. Charges have to be brought up against this man. Now, if he says in his new statements, in his new testimony, that there never was a memo, and that what he said on May 3rd, and I'm going to play that coming up, is true and accurate, then we got to look somewhere else. We've got to look at people like Schmuck Schumer that said, there is the memo, and Trump's in big trouble, and there's going to be impeachment. Yeah, that Trump is in big trouble. We know that Comey keeps meticulous records, and that memo's got to be there. Well, Schmucky, if Comey denies any such memo and can't produce that memo that's dated after May 3rd, you got some problems, Jack. If I'm the president, you got some big problems, boy. I'd arrest your ass for sedition and false propaganda and undermining the presidency. I will find something on you, son. I'll make it up. But you're going to be out of your seat, sir. So, when Comey testifies, I expect some fireworks. And if there aren't any, and Comey isn't arrested, or others arrested for throwing false information, or at least condemned. I mean, they got a thing called censorship. Where you could censor a senator, or at least call him out and call him a fake, phony fraud. If there's a dead silence and they continue to attack Trump, and Trump doesn't fight back hard and mean and lean and rough and tough, folks, and you're going to find out, we're going to find out together, once and for all, are we really alone in this deal? Is it really the American citizens versus all of the United States government? Or is Donald Trump our general against the establishment, against the corrupt DC politicians on both sides of the aisle? Is he truly our general, and are we his troops? So let's go to my second clip. We've got about 18 minutes remaining. Well, it's less. We have 17. And I want to see how far I get, because I want to read one more article by Barack Hussein Obama when he was just a little old college boy. Here's James Comey and his deal.
So if the Attorney General or senior officials at the Department of Justice opposes a specific investigation, can they halt that FBI investigation?
In theory, yes.
Has it happened?
Not in my experience, because it would be a big deal to tell the FBI to stop doing something that without an appropriate purpose. I mean, oftentimes they give us opinions that we don't see a case there, and so you ought to stop investing resources in it. But I'm talking about a situation where we were told to stop something for a political reason. That would be a very big deal. It's not happened in my experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the biggest news in the last year of mainstream media
And this is Alex Jones, by the way. I should have plugged the source. This is Infowars.com, and this is Alex Jones's commentary and his collections.
Propaganda with no proof that Donald Trump is a Russian agent. This is incredible. More and more Democrats like Dennis Kucinich, who are actually respectable, I don't agree with their politics, but they're not evil people, have come out and said the deep state's trying to take Trump out. Colonel Schaefer has said it. Jonathan Turley, a constitutional lawyer and big Democrat, big liberal, is saying this is totally criminal. This is dangerous. Even if you believe Comey's supposed memo, this is not obstruction of justice. What is obstruction of justice is what Comey's done. That's the big breaking news. Any way you look at what I'm about to break here, this has been blurbed a few times online. It's got no attention. One of our producers, Matt, brought it to my attention. It is incredible. We've been scrambling this morning, just looking at this over and over again and looking at the dates. This is incontrovertible. This is open and shut on Comey. Either the memo's fake and whoever released it from the FBI is lying, or the media's lying and it doesn't exist, and the FBI hasn't come out and said that that's a lie, and the FBI is letting this fake leak come out with totally made-up bogus info. That wouldn't be the first time. It's happened multiple times just this week so far with the whole Russia intel claim that wasn't true about laptop bombs. So listen to me carefully. Here's the big news. James Comey, I'm going to play the clip in a moment, in the Senate Judiciary Committee on May 3rd, that's months after the supposed February meeting with the president and the February phone calls where they had just dismissed Flynn. And he said, reportedly, gee, I hope you can see your way to not keep this going. Trump says he never said that. And Trump said, watch out, I've got tapes. And it just broke. Kit Daniels, Infowars.com, breaking. Comey caught committing perjury to Congress? Question mark. Comey's February memo contradicts May 3rd Senate testimony. And I would just say Comey's reported February memo, because he hadn't denied it. In fact, he pretty much says he's done it. He wants to testify, though, as a government agent next week, not as a citizen. I guess he wants immunity. But, again, my brain is just burning with all the angles here. Let me say it very, very simply. Comey testified May 3rd to the Senate committee, the Senate Judiciary Committee, that there was no outside influence and that Trump had not been trying to influence the Russia investigation.
See, bye-bye, Comey. Bye-bye, bro. I mean, there it is, Jack. You said it in your own words. Oh, it would have been a big deal if the president came to me, or anyone, any official came to me to stop an investigation for political reasons. It would have been a big deal. It would have been an uproar. He said nope. Not on my watch, miss. Never happened. And then all of a sudden, Schmucky Schumer and those other douchebags started, oh, there's a memo. There's a memo. Comey and Trump had to sit down. And Trump asked him, can you end the investigation on Flynn? And by the way, let's pretend that there is some sort of memo that says Trump asked, look, can you see a way of just ending this investigation on Mike Flynn? And, I could even see that. I mean, crap. Trump has a compassionate side. I've got a compassionate side. Michael Flynn was forced to resign over crap. And I could see where Trump would have said, let's say he said it. Hey, look, James, I know you've got this investigation thing on Michael Flynn, but you know what? Look, he did resign, all right? He lost his job. He can no longer be on my staff. Do you really have enough? Is it really that big of a deal? Is America truly compromised by whatever he may have done? Can you see maybe just dropping the thing? The guy resigned. Now, if Flynn didn't resign, and he was still in the Trump cabinet, high up an advisor, and Trump tried to have it swept under the rug, maybe we could talk about that. Or maybe if Trump said, look, Flynn resigned, I order you to stop the investigation. I order you to stop. Then we could have a discussion. But even if Trump asks, can you see your way? Is it that big of a deal? Can you let the guy go? He resigned already. He's been shamed. Do we have to keep going? So what? So what? Ford pardoned Nixon. Nobody gave a crap. Nobody went after Ford. It's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of just nonsense crap. But why don't we forget about what's really happening to us? Oh, gee, I don't know. Maybe our tech jobs still being sent to freaking India and Outer Mongolia? IBM screwing American workers? Very good ones, I may add. Still happening, folks. How about marijuana being legalized for recreational use and the pure form being put into synthetic form, and some dude plows into 20 people? Thank God. I mean, it's one is even terrible, but thank God it wasn't 10, 12, 15 people killed. Just ran him over. He was on synthetic marijuana. I mean, how about that? How about that going on in this country? How about our young kids being brainwashed by libtarded teachers that are speaking out of their orifices about this fake global warming hoax, then change to climate change? Yeah, it does. So how about the American dream going down the toilet? How about still way too many Americans that want to work are out of work? How about concentrating on that? How about concentrating on Muslim no-go zones in this country that are training for jihad? Hey, how about our young kids being brainwashed and recruited over the internet to become Muslim jihadists? How about those concerns? Is anybody concerned? I'm concerned. Hey, how about college graduates? Yeah, how about college graduates graduating 50, 60, 70, $100,000 in debt right off the get-go? Can't find a job in their field, and even if they can, because of their debt, they can't even move into their own place. They either have to live with their parents or get a roommate or several roommates. How about not being in a position to buy a home? How about the largest unemployment rate demographically, age-wise, in this country is still 16 to 24. How about that? Or how about when Alex Jones was talking about earlier today about funguses being artificially created to kill us, to escalate cancer and other diseases? How about that? Do those things concern you, or are we just going to continue to play with this Russian BS? How long, America? How long are we going to allow us to be dragged, pulled by the nose like a sheep, and have our legacies, whatever legacies that we thought we were going to create for our children, being flushed down the freaking toilet because we're obsessed with the freaking Russians? Does that mean anything to you? Because it means something to me. So I want to end with this article. I want to go back. I want to take a blast from the past, baby. Again, this comes from Godfather Politics. This is what I'll be concluding the show with. Flashback. Again, by Kelly Sharp. May 13th, 2017. Obama claimed in a Harvard essay, the American dream is to be Donald Trump. Oh yeah, baby. Well. It's funny how little things from the past tend to come up and bite us in the butt in the future, huh? I wonder how Obama feels every time he remembers that the American dream as a Harvard student in 1991 was to be Donald Trump. Imagine that, folks. The essay was written with the help of a fellow classmate named Robert Fisher. Well, there's no surprise there, because that non-teleprompter, stumbling, mumbling, stuttering idiot never came up with an original idea ever. Matter of fact, he had to take his father's dreams of destroying America because that idiot didn't have his own game plan. But I digress. They wrote about race and rights rhetoric and chalk up the American mindset to a continuing normative commitment to the ideals of individual freedom and mobility, values that extend far beyond the issue of race in the American mind. Oh, so this isn't about white privilege and the poor black guy that has no shot? That the American mindset should be transcending our petty and minor differences and be having a commitment to the ideals of individual freedom and mobility? Oh my God! Imagine. Quotes, "The depth of this commitment may be summarily dismissed as the unfounded optimism of the average American. I may not be Donald Trump now, but just you wait. If I don't make it, my children will." The excerpt of that previously unpublished law school paper found its way inside Rising Star, The Making of Barack Obama, the new 1,460-page biography written by Pulitzer Prize-winning historian David Garrow that focuses on Obama's early years. I wonder if he's going to talk about the drugs and the cocaine and everything. The paper argued that black Americans should shift away from rights rhetoric and towards the language of opportunity. So you mean to tell me that Barack Hussein Obama, a.k.a. Barry Obama, a.k.a. Barry Soratoro, a.k.a. Barry from Honolulu, is telling his peeps to get off the "I'm owed something" stuff because I'm black and concentrate on opportunity? Woo! Ain't that a kick in the head? Far cry from "you didn't build this sucker, somebody else did." Though Obama would later channel the language of opportunity during his speech at the 2004 Democratic National Convention that skyrocketed him into the public spotlight, because we didn't know much about this idiot. We never heard about this guy, and we got snowed. Well, I didn't get snowed because I did do my research before '08, and I didn't vote for him. His legacy has since been tarnished by criticisms of his failure to help African Americans. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, not only did he not help his fellow half, he's only half black, he doubled black unemployment over 8 years. Not only did black people who voted for Obama, who had in their minds, we're finally going to get a seat at the table, y'all couldn't even get jobs to sweep the crumbs off the floor that fell off of that table that you thought you were sitting at. You see, you didn't even get a job to get the crumbs off the floor from the table of opportunity. No, you didn't. Now Donald Trump is president of the United States, and Obama is still fueling a so-called resistance and race baiting to divide America. Guess what, folks? Barack Obama, who was in an opportunity, the man was in the opportunity to continue and fulfill the dream of Martin Luther King Jr. He had a chance to unite this country in a way it has never been united before since this race-baiting propaganda BS started in the 50s. He had the opportunity, but instead, ladies and gentlemen, what he created more anger. And I'll talk about myself for a couple minutes, then I'm going to wrap up with the song. Now, I grew up in a family that, had racist tendencies. They did. Not just against blacks, not just against Spanish, but against other white nationalities like the Irish, because through my grandfather's stepfather, Irish people were brought into the family, not by blood, but by second marriage. And there was racism. I think it was more anger, because my grandfather wasn't treated well by his Irish stepfather. So that might have been it. But still, there was some Archie Bunker stuff. Let's put it this way. My family, and me included as a kid, watched a lot of All in the Family and laughed hysterically for decades. It's true. But I want to tell you something. I, too, was affected psychologically by this race baiting and by the dividing of America that Barack Hussein Obama did. And I actually became angrier with black America because all the crimes that were being committed, all the nasty things being said about white people, calling for our deaths. Black radio stations calling for it. The new Black Panthers obstructing voting booths in Philadelphia. The riots, the hate, the black on white crimes being pummeled in my brain every day. Yes, I was still watching mainstream news at the time, mostly Fox. And when you get hit with it over and over again, I'm not going to lie. I would sit at my TV in my home, and I would just go off on an N-word tangent. I did that with my family when I was younger because that was my atmosphere. But when I got out of there, as I got older, in my 20s and whatnot, and got out in the world and mixed with different people, that went away for the most part. Matter of fact, a former best friend of mine always stayed in that mode of using that kind of language, and quite frankly, I got tired of being around them, and something else sparked the end of our 30-plus friendship. But we were not the same. We were not simpatico anymore. I had gone in a different, you could say a more loving direction than him. But I got to tell you, after 8 years of Obama, the N-words was flying out of my mouth. Smart enough not to do it in public, but, in my home and, on Facebook, when somebody would say something about me, call me a name, and the person was black, I used many different innuendo without actually saying the word, which would get me kicked off of Facebook, which I've been suspended a couple of times anyway, and that's a whole other discussion on censorship by Schmuckerberg. But Obama brought out some, I got manipulated into being angry at a certain group of people and saying some things that, I wish I didn't say, and just being, going back to my Archie Bunker days. I don't deny it. But that's what this man did, and that's what the media did, and that's what happens when you're hit with the same thing over and over and over again. It affects you. He divided America. He screwed. When I say, you know what? When I say he screwed his own people, that's the truth. Because he's black and he's white. He screwed all of us, ladies and gentlemen. He screwed all of us. He put racial unity back into the 60s, literally, with all the fighting and the nastiness and the segregation. Now, we don't have separate water fountains, but you can't deny that with all of this race baiting and multiculturalism and all this fighting, that we haven't gone back into our packs. We're like in separate tribes now. See, that's the farce of multiculturalism, and I'm going to stop right there because I've been going more than 2 hours. But multiculturalism really is not. It's really divide and conquer. It's really tribalism. It's creating an anger in you with people that are different from you, and it's forcing you to find your own same kind. It's zebras with zebras. It's giraffes with giraffes. It's tigers with tigers. It's lion with lion. And if you cross into my territory, I'm going to feel threatened, and I'm going to attack you. That's what this SOB created. Now, I know that he has committed crimes against America. Well, he's committed moral crimes, ethical crimes. He's committed hate crimes. I mean, this man... So I'm serious, folks. Before I die, I would love to see that man in an orange jumpsuit. I'm not playing. What an evil son of a bitch that man is. And the damage he has caused on so many people. It is, for me, personally, I'm going to leave it to Jesus Christ, my Lord. My Lord can forgive him if he chooses to. My Lord can accept Barack Obama when the time comes into heaven if he feels like it. It's his will. It's his kingdom. I've got no say in it. But on my human surface level, I'll never forgive that bastard for those long 8 years and for the games that he's trying to play now. No, you are not forgiven, Barack Obama. I don't like you. I don't respect you. I think you are one of the lowest forms of filth that has ever come out of a woman's vagina. You stink, and honestly, I hate your guts. And honestly, and I'll close right here with that thought, I would love to get you into the octagon 3 minutes. I want you in the octagon, steel cage, brother, 3 freaking minutes. I want you in the ring, brother. So I'm going to end with this song. This song goes out to Donald Trump, and it's what I talked about at the top of the show. President Trump, I'm Michael B. of the Truth Zone. I am in your corner. I support you. I'm with you. And whatever you have to do to get this country moving in the right direction again, sir, you have my full support until proven otherwise. My name is Michael B. This is the Truth Zone. I will be back Monday, 10 a.m. Central Time, live. This song is from the Christian group Unspoken. My favorite station, by the way, I know I'm still rambling, air1.com. Beautiful music of all different types for our Lord Jesus Christ. And I also want to share with you real quick, and I'm going to talk more about that in the upcoming weeks about healthcare. Folks, you can leave the system. You don't have to be beholden to Obamacare and whatever the Trump administration comes up with. You can free yourself from the system. please go to libertyhealthshare.org. I am on my third year. I'm a 52-year-old man. I pay $199 a month. My rates have not gone up. I have a $500 deductible that has not changed. I am covered for $1 million per incident. Heart attack, $1 million of health coverage. Hospital, operation, whatever. Cancer, $1 million. Stroke, $1 million. Diabetes, $1 million. You get the picture. You don't have to be a Christian, but it is Christian-based, and it's people like me. My $199 a month goes into a general pool to help all of my brothers and sisters in Christ. So you don't have to be a slave to the system. Here is Unspoken with Good Fight.
Until you stop breathing, till you stop bleeding, until your heart stops kick drum beating. When it's hard times, when it's long days, and the enemy is right up in your face. When your back's against the ropes, and you're feeling all alone. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep letting your light shine. 'Cause I'm never gonna leave you, always gonna see you through to the other side. Keep fighting the good, fighting the good, fighting the good fight, good fight. Even in the roadblocks, even through the rough spots, when you're feeling you're giving all that you got, I'm with you in the next step, giving you the next breath. I'll be the voice saying you're gonna make it. When you're out there on your own, you are never alone. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep letting your light shine. 'Cause I'm never gonna leave you, always gonna see you through to the other side. Keep fighting the good, fighting the good, fighting the good fight, good fight. Just keep on singing, and keep on dancing. And joy will be your banner, and my love will be your anthem. And you may never know what your tomorrow holds, but you can know that I am holding your tomorrow. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep letting your light shine, yeah. Keep fighting the good